Hello, welcome to the very first Growth Gallery's Astro Masterclass. In the masterclass, you can expect to learn different astrophotography topics. Hopefully, we'll be having these almost once a week. And when they're live, you'll have a session at the end where you can ask questions and get insights on the topic that's being discussed. So this week, I would like to discuss the 9 essential items for going out and doing an astrophotography shoot. So we'll go through a few different components of this, right? First of all, your gear that you need for shooting, and then some of the additional items that might make your time more comfortable and make sure that you're healthy and well fed, and you have everything you need so that you're not interrupted in your shooting throughout the night and you come home with all your gear. So that being said, we're going to start with the equipment you need to take images of the sky. And so the first thing that you need is a tripod. So you can see I have several tripods here. This is a Peak Design tripod here. In the back here is a carbon fiber tripod. It's a very small, light, portable tripod. Maybe there are other ones on the market now, possibly from Benro, that might be better than this one, and maybe other options. But like this one has served me very well, and it works well with smaller setups like this Move Nomad tracker. I've been using this exact setup for probably 3 or 4 months now, and I'm really happy with the results that I'm getting from it. Another option is if you have a larger tracker, you might want a slightly larger tripod. This is a relatively larger carbon fiber tripod that is significantly less portable than the Peak Design tripod. It's really pretty optimal for holding larger mounts like the Skywatcher Star Adventure here, or the similar mount from Ioptron. They both will work really well on this tripod. So why should you think about tripods? So a tripod, you may overlook and say, maybe I just need a nice camera, a nice tracker or something, right? And forget about the tripod. But the tripod can really make or break your shoot, because the stability of your tripod is really significant in getting pinpoint stars. If there's any motion, things will be moving, and if you have any problems in your rig, it will make debugging even more difficult if your tripod's moving around, because you won't know if the tripod moving is causing the issues, or if there is some other misconfiguration that you need to work out. So yeah, the tripod that you choose for your astrophotography is really critical. So the second item I would like to talk about is your tracker. So already on these mounts here, we have 2 very different trackers. And so if you're not familiar, a tracker just counters the Earth's rotation, right? So the Earth is rotating, and in order for the camera to be pointed at a single location in the sky, the tracker must be properly aligned and then rotating at the same speed in the opposite direction to keep the camera in the right location. So I have 2 trackers here. So this is the Skywatcher Star Adventure. This one is really pretty full featured. You can do a lot of different things with it. It tracks the sun, the speed of the sun, the speed of the moon, and it also tracks the stars, as well as some speeds that are a little bit unique. So it does half the speed of the stars, which I'm not exactly sure what you use this for. I guess you could try to take an image of the sky in the foreground together with a little bit of motion in the foreground, and you could take a longer exposure than you could with the full tracking and still get close to pinpoint stars. That could be one use case for that. And then also it has speeds faster than the star motion, up to 12 times the speed of the normal speed of the sky, which will allow you to do interesting stuff like take star trails images. Because if you're tracking 12 times the normal speed in 5 minutes, you get about an hour's worth of motion. So you can take like a 5-minute exposure, and the star trails will look like it's an hour long. So it's a pretty nice feature of the Skywatcher Star Adventure. The other tracker I have here is the Motion Move Nomad. This is much more limited in its capabilities. It literally just has the ability to rotate, like in the axis and the speed of the stars, and that's all it does. Or just can set it up, rotate the speed of stars, and if you're just taking Milky Way images or some other part of the sky, just the stars, you're not super concerned about taking pictures of the moon and the sun, right? This might be a good option for you. It's a little bit less stable, right? So in windy conditions, you might get more motion than you would with something like this. But it really shines when you come to portability. It's so much smaller; it can easily fit in your backpack. Whereas this tracker, it might be difficult to get that into some backpacks. So yeah, both of these trackers are the two main ones I've been using, and I'm really happy with the results I captured with both of them. So the third item that you need is actually a camera and a lens, right? So without that, you're not taking any pictures. So which is our goal. For me, I right now you primarily use the Sony 24 millimeter, and it opens its aperture to f1.4, which is really important. It allows a lot of light in really quickly, so I can capture a lot of images that wouldn't be possible with many other lenses. And so that's one important feature. And the other thing is I have my full frame Sony a7R4. That's the main camera that I use for shooting most of the nice sky photos that you see on my account. Obviously, I have other cameras and lenses, but these are the main photos are captured with this specific setup, and this has worked really well for me. I'm not telling you to buy Sony. This is definitely not sponsored, but like I know many people who get good results with Nikon and Canon and other manufacturers as well. Even some people who I've taught have used Fujifilm, and we're getting really good results. So your camera manufacturer doesn't work well, just make sure you have full frame camera, which will probably work better, and then also a lens with a wide aperture. And you might want to do a little research to make sure your lens does well with the stars, because some lenses don't. So just some things to keep in mind when you're looking into camera equipment. So let me mount this up here. And yeah, always make sure your equipment is firmly in place. You don't want anything to move, and you definitely don't want your camera falling to the ground. That would be very tragic. And so we come to the fourth item in the list. So once you've got your setup, you need to be able to take longer exposures. So the one limitation of most modern cameras is that they limit your exposure time at 30 seconds about on most camera brands. So you need a separate device in order to take a longer exposure. So you would have to figure out how to put your camera into what's called bulb mode. We're not going to talk about that here, but then once your camera's in bulb mode, you can attach what's called an intervalometer here. And your intervalometer has a connection that's specific to your camera. The Sony one looks like this. Nikon have different connectors. But once you have connected this thing, it has a few different settings that you can put here. So for first, you have the interval. So if you want to shoot 1 minute exposures, your interval should be something like 1 minute and 1 second. And then you have a second configuration, which is the duration of your exposure, which in this example would be 60 seconds or 1 minute, which is shorter than the interval time, which is important so that it doesn't end the interval before the next interval starts. And then the third setting that you would want to configure is the number of exposures that you want to capture. And so then you would connect your intervalometer to your camera. And then once it's connected, your camera set up, you would have the configuration settings, push start, hang this somewhere where it's not going to mess up the camera or cause any motion or anything of this nature. And so, yeah, the intervalometer is an important feature. So another consideration that you would want, let's see, this is the fifth one now. Yeah, the fifth consideration, things that you should have with you is power. And so there are two different things I'm going to recommend. So one is extra camera batteries. Always bring extra camera batteries. If you need to swap out your battery in the middle of the night, you can. Or if you forget to put a battery in one of your cameras, then having extra batteries will allow you to not miss some shots. So another thing I'll recommend is an external power bank. So I just have this simple, this is a solar panel one, so you can actually recharge it with the sun, which is kind of cool if you're out in a remote area. But like this external power works great if you're trying to shoot like an online time lapse, or you don't have too many extra batteries for your camera, or you need to charge your phone. Like these external battery packs will work great for that. So just make sure you've packed the proper USB cable that's long enough to power your camera. This also assumes that your camera can take power input through USB. So mine will take power through USB-C. So you probably should look into that for your specific camera and make sure that that'll work before you go with this approach. There are other options where they make batteries that have a cord hanging out that you can plug into a power bank or similar. So yeah, there are several different options, and based on your camera, you might have to work through different ones. So yeah, so next I think we will talk about is lighting. So it's really important that you have proper lighting around you when you're shooting. So when you're actually taking your photos, you probably want it to be dark. But you definitely need to get to your shooting location. You need to get back out of your shooting location. You need to be able to find stuff while you're shooting. You need to configure cameras, all things of this nature. And so for this, I recommend a headlamp. So you have, I have this Black Diamond one. I believe this one is Cosmo. Again, none of this is sponsored. These are all just things that I find useful. And these have worked well for me. So this one supports just red light, which I highly recommend. Make sure your headlamp supports red light and white light. And this one has a different brightness as well. So the headlamp is super awesome for actually getting light and not having to carry the light with you. If you have more than one bag to carry with you, you might not have enough hands to carry a flashlight as well. So the headlamps are very much recommended. Also, I always carry a super bright flashlight with me. So this one is the Coast XP or XP11R. This flashlight has been really great. I again, not sponsored, but this is a really nice flashlight. They have their own rechargeable batteries, Coast does, that they make, and so they include those in their flashlights usually, and they're just rechargeable, super easy to use, super bright when you need a lot of light. I highly recommend having a flashlight like either this one, if not this one. So the next thing I think we would like to discuss now, the seventh item on the list that I would highly recommend that you have when you're going out for your astro shoot is a alternative form of communication than your cell phone. So many places you can go, there might be cell service, and maybe you don't need to worry too much. But like in a lot of locations where you're going to be shooting Milky Way, you're probably in the middle of nowhere, and it's highly probable that there would be none or limited cell phone access there. So I recommend a GPS communication device, and some phones now, actually, the newest iPhone, I believe, has GPS communication installed with it, so that might work for you. You'll have to check. Or you can buy a separate device like this. This was a Garmin InReach Mini 2. They're not too expensive. They come with a monthly payment fee that allows you to do some number of communications out, and they have, what's really nice about these is an SOS feature, and they have emergency handling all the time, so that when you press the button, you get direct access to someone who is trained in search and rescue and other type of situations that might come up. So highly recommend being able to communicate out while you are out doing your shooting. So I come to the eighth item now. So the eighth item is warm clothes. So when you're going out at night, you may not realize that the temperatures may drop significantly, especially if you're in a desert, like if you're in Utah or even parts of California. It can get very cold at night, even if it's like very warm during the day. So make sure you have the proper gear with you. For me, in the mountains here, right, even in the middle of summer, during the peak heat of summer, it can be 35 degrees at night. So I have to make sure that I have proper layers. So I use wool. So this is a merino wool base layer, and then I wear a warm outer layer as well. And this just insulates me against the cold and any wind. And the wind can really make things cold. Like if you're out in 50 degrees and it's windy, it can feel like it's 20 or something. It can be very cold very quickly. So be prepared for all kinds of conditions as far as warmth goes. One other recommendation along the lines of staying warm is I recommend hand warmers. So you probably can't always keep your gloves on, especially when you're handling your camera and configuring your exposures. So you'll want something to keep yourself warm. So I have just some hand warmers I bought off of Amazon. They're not super expensive. I recommend buying 1 or 2 sets of these. So they have right hand, left hand, so you can just hold them and keep your hands warm while you're out shooting. So yeah, being warm is really important, and staying healthy is also really important. So along the same lines as that, we're going to talk about the 9th item, which is food, water, and I'm going to say caffeine is important as well. So whenever you go out, actually anytime in your life, staying hydrated is really important. So having water with you, making sure you're drinking water while you're out doing your shoot is very critical. And just make sure you have plenty of water in case anything happens, especially when you're going out to a remote location. It might take time for someone to get to you. Make sure you have whatever water or food resources that you need so that you can be healthy and survive during that time. So in addition to water, I recommend some form of caffeine. I have some canned a yerba mate brand that I usually buy, and I always carry that with me so that if I need to stay alert while I'm out shooting and be aware of my surroundings so I can stay safe, or if I need to drive home at the end of my shoot, that I can be awake and alert and make it home safely. For food during the shoot, I recommend like non-perishable items for the most part, unless you're carrying some kind of a portable freezer or cooler of some sort. That works really well. So I do things like a few different things here. I recommend nuts are always good. So these are pistachios. Like carrying these with you is really nice. They can also have some salt in them, which is really good for helping you reclaim water, which is important. We just discussed. I have different types of beef jerky. Again, I'm not specifically sponsoring. These are just ones I have in my house at this time. And then I actually really like some kind of bars. These are, right now I'm eating a lot of GoodRx bars. This could come in any form, whatever you prefer. But bar, just a water bar. There's a whole bunch of different brands out there. They're all very similar and can provide you the required nutrition. Also, along the lines of salty things, sometimes I will take some sort of chips with me because they're like salty and they provide carbs as well. They're also non-perishable. So just know what foods you like, what foods your body does well with, and then make sure you're providing those resources so that you have them when you need them when you're out with your shoot. So yeah, so these are the 9 items that I wanted to discuss, these essentials for going out and doing an astro shoot. And so just we can summarize very quickly the 9 things. We had the tripod, the tracker, the camera and lens. We have the intervalometer down here for controlling your exposures, the power bank, and the extra batteries for your camera, the lighting, the headlamp, flashlight, the communication, so your GPS device or potentially your phone, especially with the new iPhones. And then the warm clothes. I strongly recommend the merino wool base layer. They keep me very warm. And then different types of food that you might want. So all the different dust, the chips, the nuts, the bars, the beef jerky, things of this nature that will keep you well fed. And then also the caffeine in the water, which I don't have anything here, but those are very easy to find. You can just make sure you take those with you. I don't recommend things like soda. They're like very sugary. They'll make you sleepy. They're just not healthy. They can kind of dehydrate you. So I would not recommend a soda when you're going out. But if that works for you, then you can go with that as well. I'm not going to tell you what to do. So hopefully these tips will help you in your next astro shoot. And if you want more content like this, you can follow me here on YouTube, or you can go to my school community in the link below, where you can find out exactly when these mastermind sessions will happen and when they'll be live, so that you can join in and get your questions answered. So thanks for listening today.